My family and I moved to Vancouver from Korea when I was 17. Learning English was really interesting. I knew that I had to practice to get better at it, but I didn't know anyone, so I took to the streets. I forced myself to talk to strangers so I could practice. It was like my own dare game. The easiest thing that I could ask was the direction. But the street that I lived on was called Barker Street. You see, Korean have no R sound, so I struggled. It was like Barker, Barker, Barker. So I asked people, where's Barker Street 10 times a day to practice my R's. And that's when I found out that Canadian people do a lot of TMI in direction talk because I knew the answer was just over there, but it often went on like 7 minutes. And the first time I heard the word blowjob, I thought it meant farting. You know, passing wind, blowing, blowjob. It got me some awkward conversations, to say the least. Like years later, I was like, oh, that's why it went weird. So when I was 18, I finally made my first English speaking friend. She was just like Samantha from Sex and the City. She talked very fast and was super animated when she told stories. And like Samantha, she was fantastically crude and refreshingly crass. And I was totally on board. I never had anyone that talked like that to me in real life. All I wanted was to be just like her. But the reality was, I looked like this, and I only understood portion of what she said. And for the most part, I got by fine. Until one day, that day, she had just come back from her waxing service. She was so excited to tell me all about it. My impression was that it was like a rite of passage or something to be a proper Canadian woman. If I was really serious about belonging in this new culture, it was something I had to experience. It was called Brazilian wax. When she learned that I never experienced waxing before, she immediately booked me an appointment with her lady, Natasha. I knew what bikini wax was, so I was like, oh, bikini wax with special Brazilian nut oil in it. So I wore a dress and a thong thinking that this way I wouldn't have to expose my bits to a stranger in the bright light, right? Right? No, wrong. Once we got in the treatment room, like everything happened so fast. It was like spread, pull, rip, yeah, yeah, yeah. I felt like I was getting slapped around, but not my face. During that short time of waxing, I cursed out my mother, the almighty gods, and this patriarchal society that forced me into the situation. As I hobbled out of the shop, I was wondering whether I should feel like traumatized. But that's when I realized that you never forget your first. Natasha was my first stranger who saw my raw asshole. Natasha Natasha. 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 Do you think that she thinks about me the way I think about her?